They thought it was over. They thought the plan worked perfectly. Min-jun trapped in his office, Victor escorting Zara into the night, Maya sobbing at the bar. But Maya's tears? Rehearsed. Victor's confidence? Borrowed. And that roar of rage from Min-jun's office? Performance. Part 2 ended with a twist. It was the plan all along, but here's what they didn't tell you. It wasn't just Min-jun and Zara's plan. There were other players, other moves, other betrayals buried so deep that even the people making them didn't see the full board. 6 months ago, Maya Chen sat in a cafe in Gangnam across from a man in an expensive suit and made a deal with the devil. The devil didn't have horns or a pitchfork. He had a Russian accent and a briefcase full of cash, and his name was Dmitry Morozov. 24 hours ago, Ji-Rul Park walked into his boss's office and confessed everything, and Min-jun gave him the most dangerous order of his life. Betray me, make them believe it, and lead me straight to Morozov's throat. I want to cut this off from its source and end these for real. Tonight, on a yacht in Busan Harbor, all the lies collide. This is part 3, when she finally did. The finale, and nobody, not Victor, not Maya, not even Min-jun, is walking away the same. Pause. Let it breathe. Are you ready for the end? Because ready or not, here it comes. Like, subscribe, and comment. Let's go. 6 months ago, Maya Chen's hands shook as she stirred her coffee for the 3rd time. Same cafe in Gangnam, same corner table, same man in the expensive suit sitting across from her with a kind of smile that made expensive things seem reasonable. 3rd meeting, each one pulling her a little deeper into water she couldn't see the bottom of. The man slid an envelope across the table, thick, heavy, the kind of weight that changes lives. Half now, $1 million, the other half when we have her. Maya didn't touch it, stared at it like it might bite. And if I say no? Then your sister's medical bills continue to pile up. Stage 4 cancer isn't cheap, Maya, and those experimental treatments in Germany, he smiled, polite, cold as winter. They cost more than you'll make in 10 lifetimes serving drinks at nightclubs. Her sister. Always her sister, the only family she had left after their parents died, the person she'd raised from 14 years old, working 3 jobs to keep them fed, to keep the lights on, to keep her in school while her own education disappeared into survival. And now cancer, stage 4, 6 months if she was lucky, less if she wasn't. What do you want me to do? The man leaned forward. We know Amara Bennett is in Seoul. We know she's using the name Zara Williams. We know she works at Eclipse. His voice dropped. Intimate. Conspiratorial. What we don't know is her routine, her friends, her weaknesses, her breaking points. That's where you come in. You want me to spy on her? We want you to befriend her, become indispensable, the one person she trusts in this entire city, and when the time comes, he tapped the envelope, once, final. You deliver her to us. Maya looked at the envelope, at her phone sitting beside her coffee cup, screen glowing with her sister's last text. The doctors say I have 6 months, maybe less. I'm scared. I don't want to die. 6 months. Same amount of time Morozov was giving her to complete this job. Funny how life worked in neat symmetry sometimes. She's a good person, Maya whispered, because she'd watched Zara for 2 weeks before this meeting, watched her work, watched her move through the world like someone trying very hard not to be remembered. And something about that careful invisibility made Maya's chest ache. Good people don't testify against Dmitry Morozov and live to talk about it. The man's voice was flat, matter of fact. Your sister has 6 months, maybe less. This, he pushed the envelope closer, buys her a chance. Germany, experimental treatments, hope. All you have to do is make a friend. Is your conscience worth more than your sister's life? Maya's hand moved before her brain gave permission, picked up the envelope, felt the weight. $1 million, her sister's life measured in currency and betrayal. How do I make contact? Eclipse is hiring, server position. You start Monday. Work hard, be friendly, be forgettable until she notices you, then become unforgettable. You have 6 months. He stood, straightened his suit. And Maya, don't develop a conscience halfway through. They're expensive, and we don't offer refunds. He walked out of the cafe, left her sitting there with blood money and a sister dying in California and a choice that wasn't really a choice at all. Maya sat alone for 20 minutes, didn't open the envelope, didn't need to, could feel the weight of 30 pieces of silver burning through paper. Then she stood, walked out, went home, started Monday, and became Zara Williams' only friend in Seoul. Present day, Victor Sedan glided through Seoul's late-night streets doing 120 kilometers per hour on the expressway toward Busan. Zara sat in the back seat, hands zip-tied in front of her, but not tight, almost loose, like someone who didn't actually want to hurt her but had to make it look convincing. She tested them. The plastic gave, slightly, enough. Victor watched in the rear view. Don't bother. Even if you get free, where will you run? We're doing 120 on the expressway. Jump out at this speed, and you're dead before you hit the pavement. Where are you taking me? Busan, the harbor. Mr. Morozov is waiting. Her blood turned to ice water. Morozov is here in Korea? Flew in yesterday, private jet, didn't even clear customs properly, paid the right people not to look too closely. Victor's voice carried something new, something that hadn't been there at Eclipse. Fatigue, bone-deep exhaustion. 23 years I've been doing this. You're number 71. 71 people you've dragged back to die? 71 people who made choices that had consequences. But his hands tightened on the steering wheel, knuckles white. I don't make the rules, Mr. Bennett. I just follow them. Do you sleep well at night knowing what happens to them after you deliver them? Silence. The highway stretched ahead, empty, dark. 3 a.m. and the world was sleeping while they drove toward endings. Finally, no. One word, but it carried the weight of the 71 ghosts. Zara studied his reflection in the mirror, really looked, saw the truth written in the lines around his eyes, the gray in his hair that hadn't been there in the photos. This was a man who stopped sleeping years ago, who saw faces when he closed his eyes, who counted bodies instead of sheep. Then why do you keep doing it? Because the alternative is worse. What alternative? Victor's eyes met hers in the mirror, held. 24 hours before everything went to hell, Ji-woo Park walked into Min-jun's office at 2 in the morning, looking like a man who hadn't slept in 3 days, which he hadn't, couldn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw his mother's face in those photos, his father, his sister, addresses listed beneath their images like obituaries waiting to be written. Boss, I need to tell you something. Min-jun didn't look up from his laptop, didn't even pause typing. You've been meeting with Victor Volkov's contact for 3 weeks. Ji-woo froze. His heart stopped, restarted, stopped again. You knew? Min-jun knew everything that happened in his city. He closed the laptop with a quiet click that sounded like a gunshot in the silent office, finally looked at him. Eyes dark, unreadable. Sit. Ji-woo's legs gave out before his brain processed the command. He collapsed into the chair across from Min-jun's desk, the same chair where they'd planned operations, divided territories, built an empire together over 12 years of absolute loyalty. Until 3 weeks ago. They have my family. The words came out broken, raw. My parents, my sister, they sent me photos, addresses, schedules down to the minute. They knew my mother goes to the market every Tuesday at 9. They knew my father takes the same route to his morning walk. They knew my sister's apartment building doesn't have security cameras on the north entrance. His voice cracked. They said if I didn't help them get to Zara, if I didn't give them everything, they'd kill them one by one and make me watch. I couldn't let them die, boss. I couldn't. So you betrayed me. I didn't. Jiwoo stopped, because there was no other word for it, no prettier way to dress up what he'd done. Yes, I betrayed you. Min-jun stood, walked to the floor-to-ceiling window overlooking Seoul, his Seoul, the city that bent to his will, that paid tribute in cash and fear, that knew his name in whispers and nightmares, his empire, built on trust and fear in equal measure, and Jiwoo had just shattered half the foundation. How much have you told them? Everything. The word tasted like ash. Her schedule, when she quit, that she's staying at your penthouse, the security setup, biometric locks, camera placements, guard rotations, exit routes, blind spots, everything. And what did they promise you? That if I helped them extract her during the trap tomorrow night, they'd release my family unharmed, let them go, give them back. Jiwoo laughed, hollow. I know how stupid that sounds. I know they're probably already dead, but I had to try. I had to. Min-jun was quiet, too long. Jiwoo's hand drifted toward his jacket, toward the gun holstered there that he knew he wouldn't be fast enough to draw before Min-jun put 3 bullets in his chest. At least it would be quick. At least he wouldn't have to watch his family die. Then Min-jun laughed, sharp, humorless, the sound of a man who just won a bet. You should have come to me first. I couldn't. They said if I told you, if you made any move to protect them, they'd know. They'd kill them immediately and... They lied. Of course they lied. They're going to kill your family anyway. That's how this works. Remove loose ends. Eliminate witnesses. You know this, Jiwoo. You've helped me do it dozens of times. Min-jun turned from the window. But here's what you don't know. I already extracted your family 3 days ago. The world stopped spinning. What? Your parents are in a safe house in Jeju Island. Your sister is with them. 6 armed guards, new identities prepared if we need them, bank accounts established, passports ready. I moved them the moment I knew Morozov was making plays in my territory. But the photos, the addresses, they were current, they were old. Taken 2 weeks ago before I moved them. Morozov's people have been watching empty houses for 72 hours, sitting in cars, taking notes, photographing ghosts. Min-jun moved closer, sat on the edge of his desk, eye level now. Your mother is eating fresh mackerel and complaining about the humidity. Your father is teaching your sister how to fish off the rocks. They're safe. They've been safe. Jiwoo couldn't breathe, couldn't process. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed you desperate. I needed you scared. I needed you to betray me so convincingly that Victor Volkov's people would believe every word you said. Min-jun's voice was soft, deadly. Now you're going to continue to betray me. Tomorrow night, you're going to lock me in this office. You're going to cut the override codes. You're going to make Victor Volkov believe that Kang Min-jun is trapped, helpless, unable to stop what's happening. I don't understand. Victor needs to take Zara somewhere Morozov feels safe, his real base of operations, his extraction point, not some random dock or safe house, his actual throne room, where he keeps his records, his people, his power. Min-jun leaned in, and you're going to make sure he takes her exactly where I want him to go. You're using her as bait. I'm using everyone as bait. Her, you, me. Every piece on the board is bait for the piece that matters. His hand landed on Jiwoo's shoulder, heavy, grounding. You're Victor's asset, Morozov's insurance policy, but you're mine. You've always been mine, and tomorrow night you're going to lead me straight to Morozov's throat. Jiwoo exhaled. 12 years of loyalty, 3 weeks of betrayal. All of it planned, all of it performance. This is insane. This is war, Min-jun smiled, and we're about to end it. Present day, highway to Busan, 2:47 a.m., and the world was dark except for highway lights strobing past like a countdown timer measuring distance in kilometers and choices in heartbeats. Zara's fingers worked the zip tie behind her back. The microblade Min-jun had given her, disguised as an earring back, small enough to hide against her palm, sharp enough to cut through plastic if you were patient, pressed against the restraint, cutting, slowly, one fiber at a time. Victor drove in silence, professional, calm, hands at 10 and 2 like he was taking a driving test instead of delivering a woman to her death. But she could see it now that she was really looking. The exhaustion carved into the lines around his eyes, the weight pressing his shoulders down. This was a man carrying 71 bodies on his back and pretending the load was manageable. "How long have you been doing this?" she asked. "Since I was 30, FSB first, Federal Security Service, then private sector when the money got better and the questions got fewer. 23 years of hunting people who didn't want to be found. 23 years of following orders and collecting paychecks." The zip tie gave, snapped. Her hands were free. She kept them behind her back, waited. "And you never questioned it? Never woke up one morning and wondered if maybe, just maybe, you were on the wrong side?" Victor's jaw tightened. There are no sides, only survival. You survive by doing what you're told. You die by asking questions. "That's what I told myself too for 7 years. Keep your head down, stay invisible, don't make waves, survive." She leaned forward against her seatbelt. "It's a shit way to live." "Better than the alternative." "Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, you look just as trapped as I've been. Different cage, same bars." His eyes flashed to the rearview mirror, met hers. "You don't know anything about me. I know you're tired. I know you don't want to deliver me to Morozov. I know you loosened these zip ties so I could get free if I needed to. I know that every person you've delivered haunts you, all 70 of them before me." Her voice softened, gentled. "I know because I see it, that look, the same one I've had for 7 years, the look of someone who's forgotten how to sleep because closing your eyes means seeing ghosts." "Stop talking." 71 people, Victor. How many more before you're free? 100? 200? How high does the body count need to go before Morozov lets you retire?" "I'm never free." The words exploded out of him like shrapnel. His fist slammed the wheel. The sedan swerved into the next lane. A truck horn blared. Victor corrected, gripped the wheel so hard his knuckles went white. Silence, just road noise and breathing and the weight of truth hanging between them. Then quieter, like a confession to a priest. Once you're in Morozov's world, you don't leave. You die in it, or you die trying to escape it, or, if you're very lucky, it dies first and takes you with it. Those are the only exits. There is no retirement plan, no gold watch, no pension, just a bullet when you're no longer useful, or a heart attack from carrying too many secrets. That's the deal. That's always been the deal. Then make a third option. There is no third option. There is tonight. He glanced back. Really looked at her, not as cargo, not as target number 71, as a person making him an impossible offer. "You think your Mafia boyfriend is coming for you?" "I know he is. Min-jun doesn't lose, ever. It's pathological. Morozov doesn't lose either. Then let them fight, let them destroy each other, and while they're busy being powerful and untouchable and settling scores," she leaned as far forward as the seatbelt allowed, "walk away, help me end this, and when it's over, when the smoke clears and the bodies are counted, disappear. Victor Volkov dies tonight, become someone else, someone who sleeps through the night. Min-jun will let you go. I'll make sure of it." Victor laughed, bitter as winter. "You'd negotiate clemency for the man who's been hunting you for 7 years, who tracked you across 3 countries, who is planning to hand you over to a man who wants to kill you on camera." I'd negotiate for the man who's been trapped even longer than I've been, who loosened my restraints, who answered honestly when I asked if he sleeps at night. She held his gaze in the mirror, steady, sure. We're not that different, you and me. Both of us running, both of us trapped, both of us so tired of being ghosts. The car slowed, exit sign glowing green in the darkness. Busan Harbor, 15 kilometers. Victor's phone buzzed. Text from Morozov. ETA? He typed back one-handed, eyes still on the road. 30 minutes. Then he looked at Zara in the mirror, at her hands which were definitely no longer restrained behind her back, at the microblade probably tucked against her palm, at the woman who just offered him salvation or damnation or possibly both. Your hands are free. Yes. You could attack me, try to escape, jump from the car. Yes. Why don't you? Because I'm done running, and I think, she held his gaze, steady, sure. I think you are too. Victor set his phone down, drove toward the harbor, toward the yacht, toward Morozov, toward the end of whatever this was, toward whatever choice he'd make when the moment finally came and all the theories became actions and all the words became bullets. 15 kilometers, 30 minutes. Time enough to save a soul or damn one forever. Busan Harbor, private marina, the kind of place where money bought silence and docking fees came with discretion guarantees, and nobody asked questions about the 60-meter yacht flying a Russian flag and bristling with guards carrying automatic weapons visible even from the parking lot. The yacht was impossible to miss, white, sleek, obscene, the kind of vessel that cost more than most people made in a lifetime and announced to the world that its owner didn't care who knew he had power. Victor pulled into a marked parking space, killed the engine. The sudden silence felt like a held breath. "Last chance," Zara said from the back seat. "You don't have to walk me on that boat. If I don't, Morozov kills me before sunrise. If you do, Min-jun kills you before dawn." Victor smiled, tired, the smile of a man who'd run out of good options years ago. Then I'm dead either way, might as well get paid first. But his hand hesitated on the door handle. Just a moment, just a heartbeat of doubt. Zara saw it, the crack in the armor, the moment where choice still lived. "Victor." "Don't." He opened the door. Cold air rushed in. "Don't make this harder than it is." He pulled her out of the car, not rough, almost gentle, like he was escorting someone to a party instead of an execution. Her hands went behind her back again, playing the part, selling the lie that she was still restrained, still helpless, still cargo. They walked toward the yacht. Guards watched from the deck, professional, Russian military bearing, the kind of men who'd seen combat and knew how to kill efficiently and didn't blink at orders. One spoke into a radio in Russian. "Volkov has the package." The gangplank lowered with a hydraulic hiss. Expensive, smooth. Everything about this operation screamed money and power and the kind of reach that crossed continents. And at the top of the gangplank, backlit by the yacht's interior lights like a villain in a movie, stood Dmitry Morozov. Zara's blood turned to ice. She'd seen him once before, 7 years ago, through a wine glass reflection in a Chicago restaurant while he put 2 bullets in a begging man's head. Older now, grayer, but the same cold eyes, the same presence that made the air feel thin. Amada Bennett. His accent was thick, Russian, every word precisely chosen. "You're shorter than I imagined. Photographs add height." Victor guided her up the gangplank, onto the deck, into the spider's web. Morozov circled her like she was livestock at auction, appraising, calculating. 7 years, 3 cities, 2 identities before Seoul. You've been expensive. Do you know how much it costs to hunt someone across continents? The bribes, the resources, the man-hours? Sorry for the inconvenience. He backhanded her, fast, hard, professional. Her head snapped to the side. She tasted copper, blood. Victor flinched, barely, didn't move, but Zara saw it. You cost me credibility, Morozov continued, like he'd swatted a fly instead of a woman. Made me look weak, made people think they could testify against Dmitry Morozov and live long enough to enjoy witness protection and new identities and freedom. He grabbed her chin, forced her to look at him with fingers that dug in like talons. Tonight, we correct that mistake, publicly. I have cameras set up below. Everyone in my organization will watch, will see what happens to those who betray me. You'll die slowly, painfully, an educational experience. You're going to kill me on camera. I'm going to make an example of you. There's a difference. He released her, nodded to a guard built like a concrete wall. Take her below. Chain her properly this time. Wrists, ankles, neck if you have to. I want her alive until everyone arrives. We start streaming in 1 hour. The guard grabbed her arm, started pulling her toward the stairs leading below deck. Zara looked back at Victor, one last time, one last chance for him to choose differently. He wouldn't meet her eyes, stared at the deck, at his shoes, at anything except her. And then she was gone, dragged below deck, into darkness, into the belly of the beast. The door slammed, locked. 3 kilometers away, Min-jun's convoy rolled through Busan streets like a funeral procession for someone who wasn't dead yet. 6 vehicles, black, tinted windows, 30 men armed to the teeth with the kind of weapons that made SWAT teams jealous. GU sat in the passenger seat, tracker glowing in the darkness. Tracker signal is stable. She's on the yacht, below deck, stationary. Security assessment? 8 guards visible on deck. Morozov confirmed on board. Thermal imaging shows him in the main cabin. Victor delivered her 10 minutes ago and is still there. Additional vessels? 2 support boats flanking the yacht. Fast boats. Could be in international waters in under an hour if they run. Min-jun stared at the tracking monitor, the blinking blue dot that represented Zara, Amara, the woman who opened her door at 3 a.m. because she chose to trust him, who looked at him at 4:30 a.m. and whispered her real name for the first time in 7 years, who walked onto that yacht knowing exactly what was waiting because she was done running and done being invisible and done letting fear make her choices. She's been down there for 8 minutes, GU said quietly. I know. If he's hurting her, if he's already started, he won't, not yet. Morozov wants an audience, wants his organization to watch, wants to make it last. Min-jun's voice was ice over rage. We move in 15 minutes, full tactical assault, snipers first, then breach, no survivors except her. And Morozov? Min-jun smiled. It wasn't pleasant. Morozov is mine. Back below, the room was small, claustrophobic, steel walls painted institutional white that had yellowed with age, 1 chair bolted to the floor, chains hanging from mounting points like the room had been designed specifically for this purpose, which it had. They chained her wrists first, professional, efficient. The guard knew what he was doing. Tight enough that she couldn't slip free, loose enough that circulation continued. Then her ankles, same story. Click, lock, test, satisfied grunt. The guard left, the door slammed, the lock engaged with a heavy metallic thunk that said this wasn't some cheap hardware store deadbolt. This was serious security, prison grade. Zara was alone. She tested the chains immediately. Pulled, twisted, looked for weaknesses in the mounting points or links, found none. Solid, professional installation. Morozov had done this before, many times before. But her tracker was still active. She could feel the slight vibration against her ribcage where Min-jun had placed it under her skin 2 days ago. A minor surgical procedure. 5 minutes, local anesthetic. Insurance, he'd called it. And the wire in her collarboard was still transmitting. She could feel the faint warmth against her collarbone. "Min-jun," she whispered to the empty room, hoping he could hear through whatever technology made the wire work. "If you're listening, I'm okay. Chained, but okay. But you need to hurry. Morozov is planning something public. He mentioned cameras, streaming. He's waiting for people to arrive. This isn't just about killing me. It's about making a statement." Footsteps above. Multiple. Heavy boots on deck. More guards arriving, or guests, or an audience for whatever Morozov had planned. She closed her eyes, forced herself to breathe, tried to think about anything except where she was and what was coming. Thought about the penthouse, about 4:30 a.m., standing at the window with Seoul glowing below, about Min-jun asking her real name and the way it felt to say it out loud after 7 years of silence. Amara. The door opened. Maya walked in. Zara's breath stopped, caught in her throat, refused to restart. Maya, not crying, not afraid, not the devastated friend from Eclipse collapsing at the bar with tears streaming down her face. Wearing an expensive dress, designer, probably cost more than 2 months of bartending wages. Makeup perfect, hair professionally styled, standing beside Morozov in the doorway like she belonged there, like she'd always belonged there. "No," Zara whispered. "No, Maya, what did they do to you? What did they threaten? Your sister?" "Nothing." Maya's voice was flat, dead, emotionless. "They didn't do anything to me. I wasn't coerced. I wasn't threatened. I did this willingly, enthusiastically even." The truth hit like a physical blow, like Morozov's backhand, but deeper, worse, because this hurt in places hands couldn't reach. "You were working with them? From the beginning?" 6 months. Maya moved closer, heels clicking on steel floor. "Since before I even met you, they placed me at Eclipse specifically to get close to you, to become your friend, your only friend, your weakness. Your sister, the cancer, Manila, the treatments in Germany." "My sister is fine, lives in California, works in tech, makes 6 figures designing apps, never been sick a day in her life." "The cancer story? Necessary fiction. You needed to see me as someone vulnerable, someone safe, someone who understood loss and fear and desperation, made you trust me faster." Zara couldn't breathe, couldn't process. 7 years of being alone and the one person she'd let in, the one friendship she'd allowed herself. Why? $2 million. Why else? 1 million up front, 1 million on delivery. Maya crouched down, eye level now, close enough that Zara could see her own reflection in Maya's pupils. "You're a nice person, Zara, or Amara, or whatever your real name actually is. Genuinely nice. But nice doesn't pay for the life I want. Nice doesn't buy penthouses or designer clothes or freedoms from working in nightclubs until I'm 60. This does." "We were friends. We were co-workers who occasionally talked during shift changes. Don't confuse professional courtesy with friendship." Maya stood, brushed invisible dust from her dress. "Nothing personal, just business." Morozov appeared in the doorway. "Enough, Maya. We have guests arriving. Go upstairs and make sure the cameras are positioned correctly. I want every angle captured." Maya walked out without looking back, without hesitation, without a single shred of remorse on her perfectly made-up face. Morozov stayed, studied Zara like she was an interesting insect pinned on a board. "Your Mafia boyfriend is 3 kilometers away, moving fast, 6 vehicles, approximately 30 men, military-grade weapons. Very impressive. He'll be here in approximately 12 minutes. Zara's heart skipped, stuttered. "How do you—" Because I wanted him here, my dear. Victor wasn't tracking you. I was tracking him, using you as bait to bring Kang Min-jun directly to me. He smiled, cold, satisfied. Tonight I killed two problems at once. The woman who testified against me 7 years ago, and the man who's been interfering in my Seoul operations for the last 6 months. Efficient. Min-jun will kill you. Perhaps. Or perhaps I kill his mother first. She's in the cabin next door, by the way, and he watches her die. And then I kill him while he's distracted by grief. And then I kill you while he's dying. In that order. Very cinematic. He turned to leave, paused at the door. Thank you for delivering him to me, Amara. You've been very helpful. The door slammed. The lock engaged. Zara was alone with chains and truth and the certainty that Min-jun was walking into a trap and Morozov had been 3 moves ahead the entire time. Top deck. 10 minutes later, Min-jun's team surrounded the yacht like a noose, tightening, tactical, professional, 6 approach points coordinated to the second, snipers on nearby building rooftops with clear lines of sight, support boats blocking the harbor exit so nothing could run, 30 men armed with enough firepower to start a small war. Min-jun stood at the base of the gangplank, GU beside him, radio in one ear, tracker showing Amara's location below deck, everything in position, everything ready. On your signal, boss. But Min-jun hesitated. Something was wrong. The air felt wrong. The guards on deck weren't scrambling, weren't taking defensive positions, weren't reacting to 30 armed men surrounding their boat like this was a surprise. They were waiting, standing calmly, weapons down, like they'd been expecting this, like this was part of the plan. It's a trap, Min-jun said. We knew it might be. We prepared for. No, it is a trap. For us, not for Morozov. For us. Min-jun's mind raced through possibilities, angles, moves he'd missed. Pull back. Everyone pull back now. Too late. The yacht's speakers crackled to life with feedback squeal. Then Morozov's voice boomed across the harbor, amplified and clear and absolutely certain. Kang Min-jun, welcome to Busan. Please, come aboard. Dinner is nearly ready. He's enjoying this. The guards moving into formation, creating a path, an invitation, a red carpet rolled out for an honored guest walking into his own execution. At the top of the gangplank stood Morozov, smiling, relaxed, hands in his pockets like he was greeting someone at a garden party. And beside him, held between 2 guards with guns pressed against her temples, was Min-jun's mother. The woman he'd built an empire to protect, the reason he'd clawed his way from poverty to power, the reason he'd become untouchable and dangerous and willing to burn the world if it meant keeping her safe. The one person in his entire life he would trade everything for, the one weakness he'd spent decades hiding. And Morozov had found her. His mother's voice steady, brave, even with guns against her head and death breathing down her neck, she stood straight, proud. Hello, son. I'm sorry. They came for me 3 days ago. I should have. Silence, one of the guards said. Not harsh, just firm. Min-jun's world narrowed, tunnel vision, everything disappeared except his mother and the guns and Morozov's smile. Let her go. Of course, after we negotiate like civilized businessmen. Morozov's smile was serpent smooth, reasonable, friendly even. You have something I want, I have 2 things you want. Let's make a deal, trade. What deal? Simple, clean. You leave, take your 30 men and your 6 vehicles and your snipers. Yes, I know about the snipers. There are 3 on the building to your left. You take all of that and you leave. Abandon Amara Bennett. Walk away. And I release your mother unharmed. Everyone goes home. Nobody dies tonight. Bad for business, all this violence. And if I refuse? Then I kill your mother while you watch. Then I kill Amara while you listen to her scream through the speakers. And then, well, then we have a war. And wars are expensive, messy, bad for both our operations. Bodies pile up. Police get involved. Federal investigations. Nobody wants that. Ji-yu whispered urgently in Min-jun's ear. Boss, we can take them. Snipers have clear shots on the guards. We breach from 3 sides simultaneously. We can— They have my mother. We have tactical advantage, superior numbers, better positioning. They have my mother. Min-jun's voice cracked, broke, shattered. The first time in 12 years Ji-yu had ever heard his boss's voice to anything except command with absolute certainty. Morozov descended the gangplank, slow, taking his time, savoring every second. 30 seconds, 29, 28, with methodical cruelty. Slow to impossible wait, Min-jun looking at his mother, at the yacht where Amara is chained below deck, at the choice that would destroy him. No move left, no strategy, no angle, no way to save everyone. He opened his mouth to choose, about to speak, about to make the choice that would destroy him either way. Then a voice cut through the night like a blade. "You forgot something, Morozov." Everyone turned. Viktor Volkov stood at the side rail of the yacht, gun drawn, pointed directly at Morozov's head, steady, certain. "You just ran out of money."
Viktor's gun didn't waver, steady, pointed at Morozov's head. Center mass would be safer, but Viktor wanted the symbolism, wanted Morozov to see death coming. Let them both go, the mother, the girl, let them walk off this boat. Morozov laughed, genuine amusement. "Viktor, my loyal dog, my faithful hound for 23 years, you wouldn't dare. 23 years I've killed for you, tracked for you, dragged people from their hiding places, destroyed families. 71 people, Dmitri, 71 souls delivered to slaughter. And you know what you gave me in return? Nightmares. 71 faces I see every time I close my eyes, every time I try to sleep. Children, parents, people who just wanted to disappear and start over. You were paid extremely well. Money doesn't buy sleep, and I haven't slept, really slept, in 15 years. Viktor's finger tightened on the trigger. I'm done. I'm out. This is my retirement, right now. But Morozov wasn't worried, wasn't even concerned. He snapped his fingers, once, sharp. 8 guards raised their weapons, all pointed at Viktor. AK-47s, close range. If they fired, there wouldn't be enough of him to identify. You're outnumbered, my friend. 8-1. Those aren't good odds. I'm okay with dying. Are you? Viktor didn't move, didn't lower his gun. Because my bullet gets there first. You'll be dead before they pull their triggers. Is that a trade you want to make? The standoff held, tension thick as smoke. Nobody moved, nobody breathed. Fingers on triggers, death hanging in the air waiting for someone to flinch. Then, from below deck, a crash, metal on metal, loud, violent, the sound of something breaking. Everyone's attention snapped toward the sound. Heads turned, guards shifted, just for a second, just a heartbeat of distraction. Min-jun moved, fast, faster than a man his size should move. Up the gangplank, toward his mother, toward salvation. Guards turned, weapons swung, but Ji-woo's team was faster, had been waiting for exactly this moment, exactly this opening. Gunfire erupted, chaos, muzzle flashes and darkness, bodies dropping, screaming, blood on white deck. The carefully constructed standoff exploding into violence. And below deck, Zara had done something no one expected. She'd broken free. The chains lay on the floor, broken, the mounting bolt she'd managed to loosen after 30 minutes of twisting and pulling and working the metal back and forth until the thread stripped, the wire from her dress collar used as a makeshift lockpick on the wrist restraints. She burst through the door, ran for the stairs, barefoot, dress torn, blood on her wrists from the chains. A guard blocked her path, built like a wall, gun raised. She didn't hesitate, didn't think, just moved. Kicked his knee, lateral strike, felt it buckle, heard it pop. He went down. She grabbed his gun as he fell, didn't shoot, too loud, would draw more guards, just ran. Up the stairs, into madness. Deck chaos, gunfire, bodies, smoke, hell. Min-jun saw her, across the deck, through the chaos, alive, fighting, survival incarnate. Their eyes met. She mouthed, "Your mother."
He ordered escape. She refused. Not without you. Defiant. She ran toward danger, not away. Not toward safety, not toward the gangplank and escape, toward the guards holding his mother, toward the guns, toward certain death. Because she was done running, done hiding, done letting fear make her choices. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is run toward the danger instead of away from it. Morozov grabbed her fast, arm around throat, gun to temple. His roar, "Stop!" amplified by speakers, freezed everything, delivered with absolute command. Gunfire ceasing, everyone frozen, described the tableau. New deal for Morozov, breathing hard, with someone else's blood on him. I take one, you choose which. The impossible choice laid bare, building countdown pressure. Min-jun's face showing everything, finally powerless. His please is a shattered whisper, broken man begging. Zara meeting his eyes, seeing his destruction, making the choice for him. Take me, her voice clear and strong, certain sacrifice, building to the love confession. I see you, and you see me, and that's enough. That's everything. Pause 2 seconds after, let it resonate. Morozov considering, nodding, deal with business efficiency. He releases mother, keeps Zara, dragging her toward the yacht's interior, toward the cabin with cameras, toward the execution he'd been planning. No! Min-jun lunges, desperate, wild. Ji-woo holding him back. His mother safe, but Zara disappearing into darkness. And Victor Volkov, gun still raised, 71 ghosts watching, had a choice to make. Pause 3 seconds. Your voice must carry impossible standoffs, 71 ghosts demanding redemption, sacrifice made from love, not fear, and the moment we're running toward danger becomes the bravest choice of all.
Morozov dragging Zara toward the yacht's interior cabin, his private quarters, where cameras were set up on tripods, where laptop screens glowed showing logged-in viewers, his organization spread across 3 continents, waiting to watch her execution, to learn what happened to people who testified against Dmitry Morozov. "You'll die on film," Morozov said, breathing hard, adrenaline high. "Everyone will watch, everyone will learn, your death will be educational." Zara didn't struggle, just walked. Calm, steady, because she could see Victor behind them, 10 feet back, gun still drawn, still pointed, still deciding which version of himself to become. They reached the cabin door. Morozov opened it. Bright lights, camera equipment, a chair with restraints bolted to the floor, microphones. This wasn't just execution, this was production, theater. This is where it ends. Morozov pushed her inside, and Victor made his choice. "Dmitry." Morozov turned, annoyed. "What?" Victor's gun fired, once, clean, professional, through Morozov's shoulder, non-lethal, deliberate. Morozov dropped, screamed, clutched the wound, blood streaming between his fingers. Zara ran, didn't hesitate, out of the cabin, past Victor. "Go, move!" They sprinted for the deck, toward chaos, toward gunfire, toward salvation or death or both. Guards saw them coming, raised weapons, shouted in Russian. Min-jun's team stormed the yacht, full tactical assault, no holding back, no mercy, breaching from 3 sides simultaneously, snipers taking out guards on the upper deck, smoke grenades, flashbangs, professional military operation. Gunfire, chaos, screaming, smoke thick enough to choke on. Ji-woo grabbed Min-jun's mother, shielded her with his body, got her off the yacht, down the gangplank, into waiting vehicles, safe, finally safe. Min-jun fought through guards like a possessed man, taking hits, didn't care, bleeding, didn't notice, just pushed forward, toward Zara, toward the woman who sacrificed herself for his mother. She saw him across the deck, through smoke, through chaos, through hell. Ran. They met in the middle of madness. "You came," she gasped, out of breath, bleeding from a cut on her forehead. Always. Behind them, Victor Morozov emerged from the cabin, blood streaming from his shoulder, face twisted in rage, gun raised in his good hand, aimed at Zara's back. "You think you've won?" he screamed, raw, desperate.
I own this world. I own the Russian mob. I own half of Seoul's underworld. You kill me, 10 more take my place, 20 more. I'm immortal. Min-jun turned, fast, shielded Zara with his body, human shield, taking the bullet if it came. Maybe, he said, calm, certain, but you'll be dead, and I'll spend the rest of my life hunting down every single one who comes after her, one by one, until there's nobody who remembers your name. Morozov's trigger tightened, but Zara broke free, moved fast with disarm technique he'd taught her during their week together in the penthouse, practiced on pillows, drilled until muscle memory took over. Grabbed wrist, twisted hard, rotated arm against the joint. The gun went off, loud, close, bullet missed, hit mast, splinters. Morozov stumbling off balance. Victor's final shot, clean, center mass, through heart. The final shot that ended everything. Morozov fell, dead, before he hit the deck, eyes open, surprised he wasn't actually immortal. Victor dropped his gun, let it clatter on the deck. Exhausted redemption. For everyone I couldn't save. Silence. The guards, seeing their paychecks evaporate, lowered weapons, hands up, surrendering. Smart choice. It was over. Min-jun and Zara's tender reunion, broken free, saved mother, came for her, always. As they held each other, sirens wailed in the distance. Korean police, Coast Guard, someone had called authorities as GU's team secured the yacht, zip-tied guards, collected weapons as Viktor Volkov walked to the edge of the deck and stared at the ocean, at freedom, at whatever came next. Min-jun approached him slowly, grateful. You saved her life, my mother's, hers, mine. Victor's response about scales not balancing. 71 to 1. The math doesn't work. Then disappear, run, start over. I'll make sure no one looks for you, no one follows. Viktor Volkov dies tonight, becomes someone else. Why would you do that? Because some debts can't be repaid, only acknowledged. Min-jun extended his hand. Thank you. Victor turned, looked at the hand, at Min-jun, at the life he could have if he just walked away. Shook it, once, firm, final. Then walked down the gangplank, into the night, into the harbor, into freedom for the first time in 23 years. Min-jun watched him go, didn't stop him, kept his word. Some debts were bigger than revenge.
6 months later. Eclipse looked different. Same gold fixtures, same crystal chandeliers catching light and throwing rainbows across walls, same bass pulse you could feel in your chest like a second heartbeat, but better somehow, brighter, like the shadow that had hung over it for years. The weight of secrets and danger and men like Morozov had finally lifted. Amara Bennett, she used her real name now, had legally changed it back, reclaimed the identity that witness protection had stolen, stood in the VIP section overlooking the dance floor, not serving drinks, not hiding behind the bar with her head down and her eyes on nothing, standing beside Min-jun, co-owner, partner, equal. She wore a black dress, expensive, designer label she couldn't pronounce but could absolutely afford now, confidence in every line of her body, her natural hair down, flowing past her shoulders, no longer pulled back in that practiced invisibility that had kept her alive but made her disappear. She'd learned to take up space, to be seen, to let people remember her face. Nervous? Min-jun asked. He wore a suit that probably cost more than her old apartment's annual rent, looked good in it, comfortable, like he was born to stand in VIP sections overlooking kingdoms. Terrified, she admitted. You? Always, but he smiled, small, real, the smile he saved just for her. The investors are downstairs. They want to meet the woman who helped take down Dmitry Morozov. You're a celebrity in certain circles. I didn't take him down. Victor did. You gave him the courage to do it. You showed him there was a third option. That counts for everything.
Below them, the club pulsed with life, success, bodies dancing like the world wasn't full of danger, like bad things didn't happen to good people, like money and power and violence were just stories, not realities. Maybe they weren't realities anymore here. Not tonight, not tonight. Jiwoo arrived, still Min-jun's right hand after everything, trust rebuilt slowly, carefully, over 6 months of proving himself every single day. His family safe in Jeju Island, the debt acknowledged but forgiven. Some betrayals, it turned out, weren't betrayals at all, just desperate men making impossible choices. "They're ready for you," Jiwoo said. "Conference room, 7 investors. They want expansion plans." Amara took Min-jun's hand, squeezed once, felt him squeeze back. They walked into the meeting together. The investors were impressed, asked questions about profit margins and demographic targeting and expansion strategies, wanted to replicate Eclipse in other cities, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Los Angeles, turn one successful nightclub into a franchise empire. Amara answered with confidence, with expertise, with the knowledge of someone who'd worked in nightclubs for 7 years across 4 cities, but never had the power to shape them, to make decisions, to be anything more than staff. Now she did. Now she was co-owner. Now her signature was on contracts, and her name was on the door, and her vision shaped the future. When the investors' meeting ended, one investor lingered, older woman, sharp eyes. "Miss Bennett, I have to ask, the news article said you were in witness protection, that you testified against Morozov 7 years ago. Must have been terrifying living like that, always looking over your shoulder." Amara met her gaze, direct, unflinching. "It was. Every day for 7 years I waited for someone to recognize me, to see through whatever name I was using, to realize who I was and where I'd come from. I lived in constant fear. And now? Now I'm not invisible anymore. I use my real name. I stand in rooms full of people and let them see my face and remember me. And that," she smiled, "that's worth more than safety ever was." The investor nodded, understood, left. Later, much later, after the investors departed, after Jiwoo said goodnight and headed home to his family, after the last employee clocked out and the cleaning crew finished and locked up, they were alone. Eclipse. Empty. Quiet. Theirs. Amara walked to the bar where this whole thing started, where she perfected the art of being nobody and he'd become obsessed with making her see him. Min-jun joined her, stood close. "You know we're probably insane running a nightclub together after everything that happened, after Morozov and Victor and betrayals and bullets. Most people would sell and walk away." "Probably insane," I agreed, turned to face him. "But I've spent 7 years running from danger, running from visibility, running from connection. Maybe it's time I ran towards something instead of away." "Like what?" She stepped closer, close enough to feel his warmth, to see the way his eyes tracked her movement, the way they had since that first night, 3 weeks into her employment, when she'd refused to look at him and he'd become obsessed with understanding why. "Like this." She kissed him. Finally, no interruptions, no phones ringing at critical moments, no Victor or Morozov or witnesses or danger, no Russian trackers or betrayals or impossible choices, just them, and the choice to be here, together, visible, alive. When breaking apart, he smiled. "Took you long enough. I'm worth the wait. Yes, you absolutely are." She rested her forehead against his, breathed him in. "I see you, Min-jun, really see you. Not the king of Seoul's underground, not the Mafia boss, not the power and the fear and the empire. Just you, the man who sat in his car for 6 hours watching my window, who gave me his shirt to sleep in, who asked my real name at 4:30 a.m. like it was the most important question in the world. And I see you, Amara Bennett, not the ghost who learned to disappear, not the survivor who perfected invisibility, not the woman who spent 7 years running, just you, The woman who opened her door at 2:47 a.m. even though she was terrified, who chose to be seen even when being seen meant danger. They stood there in the empty club, in the place where she'd learned to be invisible and he'd learned what was actually worth protecting. Not power, not empire, not control. This, her, them. Maya got 15 years, he said quietly, breaking the moment but needing to finish the story, saying like a Carrie when they offered protective custody, gave up everyone, Morozov's entire Seoul operation, names, dates, bank accounts. She's in a federal facility somewhere, new identity when she gets out. Good, she earned every year of that sentence. Do you hate her? Amara considered, really thought about it. No, I pity her. She thought $2 million would buy freedom. Instead, it bought a cage. She'll spend 15 years looking over her shoulder in witness protection, just like I did. Except she chose it. She walked into that cage willingly. That's worse somehow. And Victor? He asked. Last anyone heard, he was in Thailand, Phuket, living on a beach in a small bungalow, finally sleeping through the night. She smiled. Your people checked on him? Once, just to make sure he made it, that he was actually free. He was sitting on his porch watching the sunset, looked peaceful. We didn't make contact, just confirmed and left. Think he'll be happy? I think he's free. After 23 years carrying 71 ghosts, that's close enough to happy. Min-jun pulled her closer. I love you. It was the first time he'd said it out loud, raw, honest, terrifying. Amara's breath caught. You can't say that. Why not? Because I'll say it back. Good. I want you to. She smiled, laughed, the sound echoing in the empty club. I love you too, even though you're controlling and dangerous and absolutely insane, even though you tracked me like prey and became obsessed with making me see you, even though you're a literal crime lord who runs half of Seoul's underground. And you're stubborn and reckless and refuse to do anything the safe way. You walked on a yacht to face the man who wanted to kill you. You broke free from chains. You disarmed Morozov with a move I taught you on pillows. Match made in hell, the best kind. They kissed again, longer this time, deeper, taking their time because there was no rush, no danger, no countdown clock. When they finally pulled apart, dawn was breaking through Eclipse's windows, gold light spilling across gold fixtures, new day, new beginning, the kind of poetic symbolism that would be cheesy except it was real and happening and theirs. Ready for this? He asked. Running a business together, being visible, being partners in every sense. With you? She took his hand, laced their fingers together. Always. They walked toward the exit together, not hiding, not running, not invisible. Just two people who learned being seen is the bravest choice. This is the story of a woman who learned to be seen and a man who learned what was worth protecting. It didn't end with a bullet. It didn't end with revenge. It ended with a choice. And sometimes that's the bravest thing of all. Amara Bennett stopped running at 2:47 a.m. in a tiny apartment when she opened the door for a man she'd been refusing to see for 3 weeks. Kang Min-jun stopped taking at 4:30 a.m. in a penthouse when he realized love wasn't something you could control or command or force into existence. And together, they learned that being visible, truly, honestly visible, is the most dangerous and most beautiful thing a person can be. Eclipse reopened 6 months after Dmitry Morozov died on a yacht in Busan Harbor. They say it's different now, brighter, safer, better. They say the co-owner used to be a head bartender who was so good at being invisible that regulars couldn't describe her face even after months of service. Now, she's impossible to miss. The end. Dear gentle viewer, this creator really, really appreciates your support and loves you so much. Drop a comment telling me what was your favorite moment from this trilogy and where are you watching from. I love knowing this story traveled the world. If you haven't subscribed, please do. More stories are coming, more danger, more romance, more twists you won't see coming. Thank you for riding this entire journey with me, from part 1 to part 3, from Eclipse to that yacht to freedom. Your support means everything. Now go, like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next story.